A woman lay down on the edge of the road, her blood pooled on the cracked pavement. Yet, despite the shards piercing her skin, she felt nothing. Perhaps it was simply because her life was about to end soon. Thus, everything felt dull at this point. Oh, I'm so done with this life. The truck that had hit her was visibly damaged. Its headlights were shattered, and blood smeared across the dented metal. Crowds began to gather, phones raised, flashes flickered as they recorded her without any permission. Some of them showed pity. Some of them showed curiosity. Some of them feel sorry, but none of them bothered to help. Despite that, the woman had no energy to be mad or argue with anyone. Instead, her eyes remained gazing at the rain-soaked sky, while her thoughts drifted, recalling everything that led her to this moment. Tomorrow is my birthday. My brother is even excited about my 18th debut. I knew how weird it is to be able to survive this far. I shouldn't have lowered my guard for a minute. Oh yeah, today's grade release. I bet my mom is mad. Yep, I'm cooked. Wait, I forgot I'm about to die, hehe. The panicked driver stumbled out of his truck. His face showed complete terror as he scanned the crowd. Before long, the police arrived, but there was still no damn ambulance. The driver began babbling frantically, explaining how his brakes had failed. Anyone who witnessed the whole incident and heard his excuse will probably slap him in the face. But sadly, there's none. Thus, the only one who had the urge to do that is no one else but the victim. Oh, please, who are you fooling? Her thoughts raged. You're obviously drunk. How else would you hit someone on the sidewalk? She wanted to scream at him, to call him out, but her body refused to cooperate. This woman couldn't speak, let alone move her mouth. Thus, all she could do was to curse silently. Is this really how I'm going to die? I want to live. To celebrate my birthday at least. Her vision started to blur, but she managed to force her eyes to shift to the side. There, unseen by everyone else, was a holographic blue hue system that only she could see. System. Failing your 195th life. Calculating results. Subject. Sion Velseol. Title. God's left eye. Dog shit. Sion wanted to say those words aloud and let that pure resentment out of her chest. Her gaze remained on a single sentence. The God's left eye. A cursed title that followed her in every reincarnation. A gift that allowed her to see the future of anything except her own. Such a noble blessing indeed. Only if that blessing is capable of saving her own. Yeah, right, this world will be alright in the next 30 years or so, but soon will be conquered by AI. But it's not my problem. That will be my children's and grandchildren's problem. Oh wait, I don't have any children. Am I really going to die? Frustrations, regrets, hatred, and so many emotions coursed through her veins. This wasn't her first time dying, but these feelings continued to linger, a bitter taste in her mouth. Ugh, I should have done it yesterday if I knew I would end up like this. Oh wait, I did plan to, but my neighbor suddenly knocked on my door. I'm dumb? How did I forget? Ho ho. Sion once considered taking her own life and leave from this madness, this cycle of life. However, whenever she planned to do so, there would always be something that would hinder her from doing it completely. So in the end, I can't even make my deaths look fashionable and Instagram worthy. Damn it, you guys should have let me know before ending my life. Her thoughts gradually halted as her vision faded and the world slipped away. Finally, her eyelids shut, and the 195th peaceful life of Sion Velseol came to its pitiful end. What does it mean to live a life of freedom when I can't even live mine? Drip, drip. The sound of water droplets hit the non-existent ground and echoed through the vast emptiness. It was a hollow, desolate place with no boundaries or landmarks in sight. Like a discord, this void continued to stretch infinitely, leaving a boundless dusk without any horizon or form. Until what was suspended in the center was a small orb floating in a pale blue glow, seemingly to be on the brink of disappearing at any moment. A light with no strength to move nor any strength to keep its radiance alive. The journey of that child has come to an end. A figure revealed from the depths of nothingness and glided towards the faint light. My child, my left eye, the one who dreams the visions I cannot see. The voice spoke in an unsettling tone, neither mourning nor celebrating. The shadowed figure reached out its hand, carefully hovering over the fragile glow, afraid to extinguish it with even the slightest touch. For a moment, there was only silence until a faint, blurred voice echoed. It was like a whisper on the edge of disappearing. God. The figure stood still, sensing the heavy weight of sadness and deep pain that was reflected in just one call. How could it not feel the exhaustion and weariness of a soul that had endured countless struggles? The entity was all too familiar with the hardships this child had faced. In its previous life, it had been labeled a heretic and burned alive, despite only wanting to help those in need. In its second life, it was betrayed by its own family and abandoned by those it trusted most. And in its third life, it sacrificed everything for the sake of others. And so, in every death, the cycle repeated again and again until its 195th turn. The entity felt a strong desire to end the child's suffering, to grant it peace and allow it to rest. But it was unable to do so. Why? Because only this child possessed the ability to see the true future, a future that even the entity itself could not glimpse. The burden that had been bestowed from the very beginning must continue no matter what. Regardless of the pain, the cycle must be repeated until its role is done. The law of divinity, where her role is to act as his left eye, to see the world's ending, and will be discarded once her job is done. To be reborn once more and yet again to repeat that sole purpose. I will reincarnate you one more time. The entity spoke softly. In this life I hope you find peace. Silence filled the space as the orb began to flicker violently. This entity seems to not expect any reply from the soul, but the voice of light took on a cold and harsh tone. Dog shit. The whisper of the orb grew louder and louder. If you reincarnate me again, the voice roared, I will fucking destroy your world. I'm not even kidding. Don't you dare. The figure stood still, unable to think what it should feel. System, initiating reboot. Subject detected, Seon Velsiol, initiating 196th reincarnation. Success. Welcome back, God's left eye. Seon's red eyes fluttered open, and with a weary sigh, she embraced herself for the same disorienting feeling that happens every time in each reincarnation. Like what she says, another life, another dreary start, bullshit, dying is just another Monday. And just like always, the system's sterile message still hummed in her ears the moment her awareness gradually clicked. Do I really have to do this again? Her last dream, or maybe a nightmare, still lingered in her mind. She'd met him again, the one she assumed the god, the entity responsible for this supposed blessing. She couldn't really understand what drove him to burden her with this cycle, nor why she'd been forced to reincarnate so many times. Oh well, she gave up on understanding entities that are more complex than humans. Maybe it was simply for his amusement, or maybe something else. Crap. Seon doesn't really want to think about any possibilities. She felt her jaw clench every time she overthought God's decision. No matter what kind of possibilities she imagined, it all led to one conclusion. Reincarnation seemed like his way of laughing at her, another chance for him to see her fail, get crushed, and wake up in yet another body. Perhaps it's really just for his own entertainment indeed. I died again. Huh, she scowled, recalling how her last life had ended mangled under the wheels of some idiot's truck. Of all things. A truck? A truck. She nearly laughed. The universe has a terrible sense of humor. None of her lives had lasted even a year. After 195 deaths, she half expected that dying within a year was just part of her routine. It would be even more weird if she can survive celebrating her birthday. Why even live through it all? She mused bitterly. Weariness troubled her rather than anger. Sure, the rage was still there, bubbling just under the surface, but lately, it had been drowned in something worse. An emptiness that pushes away her drive to resist. She felt too tired, exhausted to even move her body. Maybe I should. She stopped herself from murmuring as she accidentally bit her tongue. Who am I kidding? Fate wouldn't even allow that. A life I couldn't control. How stupid. Seon shut her eyes, clinging to the fleeting hope that maybe, just maybe, this time she'd be left alone to rest. All she wanted was to sleep, nothing else. Alas, all hail the prophet, the Messiah, the messenger of God, the Holy One that will bring salvation. The obnoxious chanting keeps ringing in her ears, each word pounded like a hammer against her skull. Her teeth clenched, and whatever fatigue she had felt moments before was promptly replaced by a seething annoyance. Who are these people? She clicked her tongue once, hinting at her irritation and disdain, but the real kicker came when the voices refused to fade. She could practically feel the blind reverence from their words, and it made her stomach churn. She woke up wanting peace, a time to drama like theater. Maybe peace was overrated, she thought bitterly. Right now, what she wanted more was to punch something. Live a life doing nothing? I already did that in my 21st to 125th reincarnation, not worth it. All hail the prophet, the Savio, Gra! The fervent voice died mid-chant as one unfortunate soul toppled, clutching a fractured knee, Seon's heel still pressed firmly atop his skull. Dog shit, stop chanting near me. Archpriest. Oh my goddess, is he dad? Eek, is it enemy? Oh please, can you guys shut up for a damn minute? Rising from the altar, Sion's silver-white hair cascaded down her shoulders like a silk touches her shoulders. The moonlight filtering through the stained glass bathed her in a pale glow, making her pale skin glisten like a doll. Her beauty momentarily stunned everyone in the room, except, what the fuck is wrong with you? This doll-like figure had a mouth that could make anyone shocked, enough to shatter any illusion of angelic grace. Can't you see I was sleeping? Is this a seance? You trying to summon Satan or something? We are here to ask for... I didn't ask for your life story. Sion immediately cut him off. Did I ask you to talk? No? Then shut it. But you did ask something. Who said that? Sion asked coldly, preparing her fist as she turned around. I need a word or two. Silence as absolute as death. Heads bowed, eyes glued to the floor, as though fearing even to breathe in her direction. Right now, those people must have thought, ah, that angel is a devil. We might have summoned the prophet of destruction instead. After that minutes of silence finally, Sion rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. Dog shit. Tisk tisk tisk, people at this age couldn't even understand the essence of manners. Oh God, are these the people you wanted to protect so badly? A rule from her 195th life floated through her mind. Annoy a drunk person but never annoy someone who just woke up. She could practically vouch for it now. Whew! Calm down, Sion. It's not worth it to get annoyed in every single thing. Forcing herself to take a deep breath, she tried to calm down. See? It's that easy. We don't need to get mad. But one look at their faces was enough to boil her blood all over again. These idiots. Just one punch. Sion just need one punch to satisfy herself. As Sion stood up, these people seemed to sense her intention as they automatically kneeled down with their heads on the ground trembling. Please have mercy, Prophet. After stressing about the situation for over 30 or more minutes, Sion figured out it's better to simply accept everything. Well, she had no choice but to survive, as always. Even if she wanted to suicide, for sure fate will stop her before that happened. Right, she figured out it was better to drag this world with her death, since it was an idea she never tried to do yet. Her eyes adjusted to her new surroundings, and the first thing she noticed was the glass ceiling above her. It was cracked and teetering on the edge of collapse, or so it appeared. Upon closer inspection, the glass was actually perfectly intact. Future vision, she realized with a roll of her eyes. One of her many unwanted gifts flashed images of things to come often trivial, rarely useful. Apparently, this building would collapse someday. Was it something she wanted to know? Of course not, but somehow this vision of hers decided that it's important for her to know. Pointless. Leaning back against the altar like a queen on her throne, she crossed her legs and surveyed the run-down chapel. Dust-coated statues of unfamiliar saints lined the walls, and the smell of soil lingers in her nose. Medieval setting again? She clicked her tongue in irritation. Her eyes shifted to the group of robed figures standing before her, trembling in their ceremonial outfits. Each one gripped a wooden staff as if it might shield them from her wrath. At the very least, these people spoke English. Normally, in each new life, there'd be a frustrating language barrier, but here, they just happened to speak a language she understood in her 195th life. Convenient. Oh, it will be more convenient if I receive this body's memories, but alas, they can't even provide it for me. Her gaze turned to her side, in which a familiar holographic notification floats in her vision. System. Prologue. Introduce yourself as the Prophet. Reward, 50 Arcana points. Like a nagging fly, this ping continues to flicking in front of her face, annoying the hell out of Sion. Sion barely glanced at it, before swiping the notification away. To anyone watching her, it looked like she was waving at nothing. In her past lives, she'd have seized the opportunity for power, but now, relying on that system felt like relying on him, the god who made her this way. Just thinking about it made her skin crawl. Introduce myself? Ha! Not word. It! Her gaze swept over the group again. They were all standing there, mute and frozen as if they'd lost their tongues after chanting her name too long. Eventually, her red eyes settled on a young man, shaking so violently that he looked like he might collapse on the spot. His gaze was glued to the floor, as if one glance her way would turn him to stone. You! Sion pointed lazily. Come here. Give me that. The man stiffened. The staff? No, I meant the invisible air you're holding. Yes, the staff, what else? The timid man immediately followed up on her command, in which he almost stumbled over, nearly tripping in his haste. His hands shook as he held out the staff, offering it like a lamb to slaughter. Without a second thought, Xian seized the staff and gave it an experimental twirl in her fingers. "Not bad," she muttered while inspecting the woodwork. After complimenting the wooden staff, she slammed it against the stone altar without any warning. Crack! The staff splintered, shards of wood flying in all directions. The altar shuddered from the impact, and the man, stumbled back in sheer terror, as if it was his bones that shattered. "Ache! Tsh!" Xian tossed the broken end aside like trash. "This body's weak as hell," she grumbled, stretching her arms as a dull pop echoed in the chapel. Her gaze drifted back to the young man, who was still trying to shrink into himself. "You there, what's your name?" Me? "No, the rat hiding in the corner. Yes, you. You, Yun." Xian wasn't entirely focusing on him, as she instinctively tapped the broken staff against her palm, letting dust spiral around her. In response, Yun flinched, finding her movement as a threat, clearly bracing himself as if she'd strike him next. "Yanni!" He burst out, bowing so deeply he nearly hit the floor. "Mama, my name's Yanni. Please don't hurt me. What's with this guy?" "I just wanted to warm up a bit," Xian thought, genuinely confused at his reaction. Maybe he was just the meek type? Conveniently ignoring that she'd just broken another guy's head and knee right after waking up. "All right, calm down," she said, resting the broken staff over her shoulder and showing a smile that was somehow both charming and mildly threatening. Oh yes, there was emphasis in threatening. "I was just testing my new weapon, that's all. You just need to answer my questions. Easy, right?" Xian added. "Really?" His eyes darted between her and the stick. "No, be beating, just answer." "So, no hitting?" She raised the staff slightly, and as if on cue, Yanni swallowed hard before blurting out, "I understood, madam."